And so I don't know how she did it, but and damn, I wish we had that sound bite. But she put her touch to it, and she just killed that performance.
Knocked it down.
I didn't know what in the hell she was saying, but it sounded amazing for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And she had to. I don't think she knew the words word for word. So I'm still trying to figure out how she knew it or she learned it in that short amount of time. But that's amazing,
man. Because people are talented, and then there are other people who are just prodigies. They are gifted, and her gift was the ability to do that. It didn't matter the situation. You give her a couple of minutes, she's ready to go. I'm like, how many people can you even say that about? And I was thinking about that too, and I'm like, I'm looking at the VMAs, and I'm like, there is nobody on the stage. Regardless of the number of awards they've won or whatever, nobody on that show could even come close to touching Miss Franklin's record on it. Not even close. But I wanted to talk about one other thing too. You had mentioned was, she's very private in her life, and one thing I was kind of worried about. I heard today that she didn't have a will.
Yeah,
did not have a trust, did not have a will, and so what I am hoping, and a lot of times in that, the character of people can come out. And what I am hoping is there's not some frenzy to try to get a hold of her assets or her estate or her recordings like they did with Prince.
Oh, that was so ugly.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping for it, but, at the same time, I'm like, I'm almost jaded to the point where it's like, please respect her enough to not try to grab her for her money, Yeah. Don't just treat her like she's nothing. Have enough respect for her to do things the right way, even though we already know some people won't.
Yeah, I'm hoping that even though there wasn't anything officially, maybe between her kids and family, that there's something understood. But when funerals happen, and someone who passed away did have a change or a state of property, that's when you see the true character of people, how they act during those times.
Yeah.
You have those people who are quick to claim this or say, yeah, this is mine and all this, and the body's not even in the ground yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, I'm like you, I'm trying to be optimistic and hope that, it's something that's taken care of civilly, but I would not be surprised if it didn't happen that way.
Man, that'll be a damn shame too, because you don't want that to detract from her legacy. Just like with Prince, he never wanted his music to be streamed, and yet guess what? Not even a year after, all of his music was streaming. So I will hope that we do enough to honor her legacy, that we don't disrespect what she wanted and disrespect her wishes. And I hope a lot of that gets settled behind closed doors, because you don't want her memory to be tarnished by any of the nonsense that people here are doing. So
no, not at all.
Yeah, that's how it is.
She will be missed, and with a lot of artists of her kind, Dionne Warwick, Patty, like we mentioned, Gladys Knight. Yeah. We need to really, really Anita Baker, take solace to these people while they're still here.
Give them their roses.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, and I hate that I missed Anita Baker, man, because she was in Nashville, maybe 2-3 weeks ago? Maybe
she's on her farewell tour now.
Yeah, and I hate that I missed it, but I tried to get tickets in Atlanta to see her, and those tickets were $200, man. And
for what seat?
Any.
Oh.
People were scalping them, man.
Are you serious? You remember what the venue was?
Man, Fox Theater, I think it was.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think the face value of the ticket minimum was like $80, maybe $90. But people were scalping them, and by the time I was able to look on there and see what was available, $200, it was like $220, $225 minimum. Yeah, worst seat in the house, it wouldn't have mattered.
No, it ain't. It's, people like that who, like you said, they come from an era where they weren't found on a social media platform. They didn't know somebody who knew somebody. They made it off pure grind and talent.
Yeah,
talent where you can put them on the stage and say, hey, bust out a note or sing a song. They ready to go on cue. They don't need preparation, things like that. And that type of skill and artistry, like you said earlier, you used the word prodigies. I don't think there's too many left in this day and age.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I'm just like, man, we lost all this talent, but yet everyone up here arguing about some Nicki and Cardi B, and I'm up there like, man, I don't give a fuck, man.
We do need to talk about that as well. We definitely.
We're not gonna do it on this show because they don't even deserve mention with Aretha on this one. But
nah, they don't. They don't.
But I am laughing though. She canceled that tour though.
Who?
Nicki.
Why she got some too?
Man, I don't know.
You know what? Like you said, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's just she been going in and out on. I know people who are Nicki fans. They gonna go in or stands or whatever for her to. But she blamed everybody for her lack of album sales and why she couldn't get to number one.
Yeah.
She blamed Kylie Jenner, Travis Scott, Stormy the Baby. Fans.
Look, that Travis Scott album is fire though.
I ain't heard it.
Man, listen. As soon as we get off this damn show, man, download it, listen to it. All the way.
And you know what? And that's well, I don't want to put it out there, but you know we should do a future show of the state of music affairs. We haven't done anything like that.
Nah, not yet, but you know what, we can do that.
Yeah. So yeah, be looking out at. We're gonna talk about all that beefs and stuff going on, but right now we want to keep it just about Miss Franklin right now. So she certainly will be missed.
Yes, she will. But you know what? I say, and kind of looking at that, one of the things I had mentioned was, her connection to the civil rights movement, the things that she fought and stood for. And I kind of wondered because, we were talking about BlacKKlansman earlier, and I would have loved to have gotten her perspective, not just on that film, but also just more of her perspective on the civil rights movement, what some of the things that she witnessed, some of the things that she went through. And she's talked about it, to a degree, but I would love to hear, some of the unedited stories and just kind of like, what was it like? What was it like when you were traveling, throughout the South and you were dealing with all that, face to face? What was your experience like? Because a lot of people don't understand, performers of her caliber were treated like they were nothing, 40, 50 years ago. Yeah. They're celebrated worldwide now, just like a lot of our heroes, they're celebrated now. Sometimes they're not celebrated until after they pass, but they were treated like dogs back then.
It was, it's sad to say. And I know a lot of the stuff too she hadn't talked about, but it became factual of just people doing research on her. One fascinating thing I also found out is when Angela Davis was going through everything she was going through and was arrested and things like that. And I didn't know this, and they had a extreme amount of bail money. I think it was $200,000. Yeah. Well, Miss Franklin came through and said, "Well, what we need to do is bring her home." But took the money out of her purse, like we talked about earlier, and she was ready to go. And so it's just little stories like that, just to show you how powerful she was. I mean, she sung at Dr. King's funeral, and she had been like a right-hand person. With him throughout, his marches and his speeches and things like that. She pretty much was his walking, living, breathing soundtrack for everything that we went through, everything that he went through. Excuse me. So I do recall her saying, she really doesn't like talking about, her accomplishments and things she's done. She just said she just wanted to give back and, do what she can to help the cause.
She was genuine. Yep.
Genuine. She wasn't looking for publicity. She wasn't trying to sell records or things like that. She was doing it from the heart.
Yeah, and honestly, you just don't see a lot of that anymore. But that's one of the reasons why she garnered such, worldwide respect. And, that was... and if I'm not mistaken, I think she actually sung at President Clinton's inauguration and also President Obama's inauguration.
Yep, she sung at inauguration. She sung for popes, and kings, and queens. How many people can put that on their resume?
Yeah, very few, man. As a matter of fact, she may be one of only 2 or 3 that have been able to do that, not just with U.S. Presidents, but also dignitaries around the world. So her record is going to be unmatched, and this is why we honor her.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, so let's talk about a couple of things. We've mentioned it a little bit. Let's talk about BlacKKlansman. First, I want to give a shout out though. Now you put me on here, so I'm gonna give a shout out to AMC. So you all know about Movie Pass, and
I'm getting no shout out.
Yeah,
That's free advertising. You ain't collecting no check from that.
man, fuck it, man.
I'm
I got,
sorry,
I got to talk about them a little bit, man. They might be a sponsor one day. Fuck it. But you know, when MoviePass, you know, it's changed. The prices have gone up. You know, the benefits went down.
Restrictions out the everywhere.
Yeah, but my man here put me on AMC MoviePass. Man, $19.95 a month. You see 3 movies a week. I mean, you paying for honestly 2 movies, and you paid for it, you know, already. So taking advantage of that, you know,
pretty much. And you know, on the surface, you know, a lot of people like just 3 movies a week, but realistically, with your busy lives of work and stuff like that, when will you have the opportunity to do so? But if it's one of those times where you can say, "Shh, I'm taking off," or I got a long 3-day weekend, hey, shit, you know, it's something to do. And
even
like
if you go once a week, you know, on the weekend, go on a Saturday, no restrictions, you can see the same movie over and over and over again if you want to. So, I mean, do that. Take the kids. I mean, you will save money, man.
Yeah, you would. So, like, I wasn't going to mention the name because, like I said, I wanted to check out the deal. But since he already done said it.
Hey, sometimes you got to give to get.
Yes.
AMC, if you're hearing this, man, hook us up. But
yeah.
But one of the movies, you know, we took advantage of seeing, you know, over the last week was BlacKKKlansman by Spike Lee. Yeah. Which, you know, I had mixed opinions on it. I thought the movie was actually excellent, you know, just as a movie itself. But knowing a lot of the elements that kind of went into it and kind of knowing the history and things like that, I have mixed feelings about it. So, you know what? I'm gonna let you start first. I said because I'm gonna rant and rave a little bit, and I know me, man.
Well, like I said, if y'all hadn't seen it yet, then it's a spoiler alert. So,
man, fuck it.
Too late.
It's too late.
You know what kind of show this is.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, I felt pretty good about it. The craziest thing about my experience, and I think I told you immediately after I saw it, is me and the person I was with when we went to go see the movie, me and her were the only 2 black people in the crowded theater. So at that point, I'm looking like, damn, I'm feeling kind of out of place. I don't know if this is an elaborate plot or we just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But we were the only 2 African Americans in the movie theater. So it was a great movie. Those of you who don't know, it is a remade movie. I think the original, and don't quote me on the year, but it took place in the 60s. And I tried to watch that on Amazon Prime, and that was a rough movie to get through. It was, you know, it's hard to see, and I just couldn't fathom it, watching a black and white movie use the N-word.
Yeah.
I've never seen a black and white movie do that. But, you know, it's very, I think the tone in the original was way serious.
Yeah.
Versus this one, which I didn't know what to expect, but Spike Lee, in my opinion, he came through with this one with his trademark Spike Lee style. Those of you who are familiar with his body of work, you will see different camera angles or different stances or different things like that to let you know that this is a Spike Lee joint. And he did that. The Ron Stallworth, you just told me this before air. I didn't know he was the actor who plays him is Denzel's son.
Yeah, John David Washington.
He did a great job. He did. And I think he was surrounded by a great cast. Let me see. Y'all got to excuse me. I'm looking at the notes here. You got Adam Driver, who played Flip Zimmerman. He was the guy who was the face behind, not the voice, but he was the face of what they wanted to see.
What was he called? The Dirty Jew?
He was called some everything.
Everything.
Yeah, he was. And, you know, the kind of premise of it, those of you who are not familiar, is an African-American policeman. He wanted to, you know, move up in rank, and he wanted to, you know, advance in his career. And so, why not do something unthinkable? He came up with the plan to get into the Klan, seek membership, and take them down from the inside. Now, of course, looking at him, you're thinking, how's this dark dude, you know, deep voice and, you know, different tones and swag, how is he going to pull that off? But when he put on that voice, I'm like, yeah, I was sold too. If you just close your eyes and listen to him talk, you would think, he's actual Caucasian, Ron Stallworth.
Yeah.
And so, what was the part of the movie that David Duke character played by Topher Grace